So we are making a lineup of the Midwest states. The Midwest, now Jerry, so this was when we landed around this. Me and BBD looked at each other and we said, what is the
There's
Midwest?
a lot of controversy about what should and shouldn't be included.
Oh, there's controversy.
I don't know. People have different borders.
Oh, really?
Some
What's
states.
give me a controversial state.
So, we'll start off with just how we got to the pool we got.
Okay.
We Googled like which states are the Midwest to see if there's like an official thing, and the federal government recognizes 12 states as Midwest.
And we needed
11.
Yeah, we needed 11.
So the federal government, according to one Google I did, recognizes Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, North and South Dakota, Nebraska, Ohio, Wisconsin. So what we decided to do was take out both Dakotas and replace that with Kentucky, and that's how we got from 12 to 11.
That's not, so I didn't.
Because picking between a Dakota,
Being a
is tough.
Midwesterner, I didn't know that they were North and South Dakota are still considered the Midwest.
They're also they're pretty north and
Yeah, I mean it makes sense, but Kentucky,
Kinda
I
where
saw
else
on
would
the
you throw
list,
that?
is close.
So
I can
that
see
was,
why
We got
people wouldn't
Kentucky, West
include
Virginia,
yeah.
kind of in that area.
the reason we went there was the Dakotas. So
I mean,
in some of
It's the
these
same
lineups,
conversation for
Yeah.
each.
in some of these lineups, a lot of times if there's a true pairing, the baseball person in you says second base, shortstop. So I think
like
if the
your pitcher
Dakotas were
catcher.
in there, I think that would have thrown it off, and I liked adding Kentucky. So I'll start laying it out.
Yeah,
I'll go to catcher. Dad's
wanna
here
do-
today. Dad's running it. So yeah, we'll just go around and then we'll see where it lands. At catcher, I put the great state of Minnesota.
Mm.
I just pictured Minnesota with kind of broad shoulders, like as a state and the people from that state. So it again, and I think they paired decently with my catcher, or my pitcher, excuse me. So I don't know. That was kind of my first thought process.
Minnesota was one of my bigger flexes that I was just like, I could end up with them anywhere. So I placed.
It felt like
Minnesota
Minnesota had options.
Yeah.
you want to go ahead? Who you have at catcher?
This is where I put Iowa.
Okay.
When I think Iowa, I think kind of that traditional movie catcher, stocky build, and
Wrestlers.
yes.
I like it.
Wrestlers.
And Iowa, as far as like its placement in the country, like easy to not notice when you're thinking about our great nation, but very important, like in elections and like all the corn they do there and shit. And
The caucus.
yeah,
Huge guy.
very easy to forget about Iowa, but really important that kind of embodies the catcher position as well.
I like it.
Who'd you put behind
I
Bush?
put Minnesota as my
Really?
catcher.
Wow.
And we talked about it, so I had like a Minnesota-Wisconsin kind of duel here.
Okay.
Because these are the northern colder states, the tough hockey players. These guys are like they talk and they got the Minnesota,
Minnesota.
pass me the remote. Like they're the tough, different breed, missing a tooth on purpose as a show of pride that they've been punched in the face. Wrestlers, like, I think this identifies with being tough, a different breed of human being we talked about. Hockey guys are different breeds. Catchers are different breeds to put
Minnesota.
yourself through punishment like that on purpose. So
Ice
Minnesota
fishing?
was my choice. Ice fishing, that's fun. But catcher, Minnesota, that was for me.
So love that. I will. I don't want to say we normally do this. If there is a match, we usually show like.
Oh,
You don't have to clap.
I
You
will.
don't have to clap, but it's normally like
yeah, man.
this
Wavelengths.
This social experiment is working. That's kind of the result.
I
we're
dig
looking
it.
for.
I
The
dig
coolest feeling is when we all three get one.
Yeah, I mean that's
that we agreed
special.
on.
So we'll see. Those are rare.
I feel like I'm going to be an outlier for one of these positions.
Well, it does end up shifting the team.
King Purple.
You have to make a decision in that.
Sometimes you're between a couple.
At
and
the
you get
end of the
left
day,
out.
sometimes we do allow changes. Like it's again not a competition, and if there's something, there's usually 2 or 3 of these
Got
that
it.
you're like, what?
I feel like I
don't
know where you're
know.
going with one position, and I disagree with it.
Okay,
So
interesting.
we'll see.
Well, let's go to first base.
Okay.
And it was kind of interesting the way you just phrased it with Minnesota. I went Wisconsin there. I kind of thought a big burly Wisconsin.
I love it.
I think maybe the corners could have been a position, first or third, but I put Wisconsin at first. What about yourself?
I put Missouri at first base. I
Really?
think of the big Midwestern corn-fed.
Okay.
You've got some rough and tumble cities in St. Louis there. You've got some athleticism. First base is often underappreciated. I think St. Louis as a city is a little bit underappreciated.
Ooh, I like that.
And usually, you've got some toughness, and they're tough.
Okay.
So
Mizzou, BBD, where'd you end up?
This is where I ended up placing Michigan.
Okay.
Michigan, I don't think Michigan people are going to like this phrasing. It's not meant to be, their most notable city is Detroit. It's a city a little past its prime. At one point, it was the place to be. Maybe earlier in its career, Michigan was overplaying third.
So you have a veteran first
He's
baseman.
a veteran,
okay.
and now he's gone. He's playing first base now.
Okay. Made the move.
I'm surprised. So this is my choice for you guys to choose Michigan as your shortstop. Being Yankee fans, having Kalamazoo boy, I thought for sure that's where you're going. And as an Ohio guy,
right,
Michigan's the rival. They finally beat us in college football.
Yeah.
Michigan, Ohio State. So that was I'm shocked that you went there. I like it.
I have Michigan as an impact player on my team, not at shortstop.
Okay.
I do like that Jeter guy. Michigan. Do you dislike Michigan?
I don't. I actually
Okay.
really like Michigan, but I'm I'm supposed to hate them.
Right.
Blue people during the
Right.
rivalry. It's the greatest rivalry in sports.
It's real.
And I'm not even a huge college football fan.
Yeah.
But I have to be, because anytime when I first got drafted, went to Boise, Idaho.
What?
That was when I first got drafted.
First
so
stop?
bouncing around.
That's the first.
Everywhere you go, they're like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "Ohio." They're like, "I hate the Buckeyes." And there's only so many
Buckeyes get
times.
a lot of hate.
There's only so many times that you can hear "I hate the Buckeyes." And they're like, "Well, I hate you."
Yeah.
You start to stand up for yourself because they associate you with the Buckeyes because it's so big there.
Right.
So,
I will say, I went to a wedding with a bunch of Ohio people, and they were aggressive with the OHIOs and all of that.
it's like they're.
So,
their thing.
I left that wedding, and I was like, all right, easy,
That's enough.
Easy.
By the way,
Ohio.
Boise, the only people
I heard
I've
it's
ever.
awesome.
It's awesome. The whole Northwest League was amazing. Vancouver's sneaky. It's a big league
It's
city.
an awesome spot. Yeah.
But Boise State. They like to say Boise.
Boise.
So Boise State.
Always learning.
They like their football team there more than Ohio people like Ohio State. And it's the only place I've ever been to in the
Yeah.
country where they like their Broncos more than Ohio likes Ohio State, which is it's incredible. And that's saying something.
Sneaky on my sports bucket list would be one of those opening college football weekends if Boise State gets another big-time program, play some golf out there because I think that's beautiful out there. I think
Yeah, it's like high desert. You
Coeur
can
d'Alene
launch the
or
ball.
something like that.
Yeah.
The blue field, yeah.
So here's a quick. So I drafted, had to do my entrance physical at Boise State, so I can sign my contract. So I went, and they had the turf out, and there are 10 dead birds. They have to cover the field now because birds think it's water, and they dive bomb. I was horrified. I was like, what are all those what are those? And they're like, oh, they're dead birds. They think it's a lake, and they just
go
come
full
in full
force.
speed.
That's one of those things
Now
that's
they cover it.
incredible. Oh, they do?
They
Okay,
do cover
good.
it. They whenever
got
they're
a
not on the
solution.
field, they cover it. I imagine it's green or whatever.
We
but
got a solution.
yeah, they cover it up when they're not on it. But it's a thing.
That's one of those things as society, you're just like, damn. Yeah, are we doing it wrong?
Is this? Yeah, it's
Is
cool.
the blue
it
football
looks
field
cool.
worth
Is it
it?
worth it? That's the
Well,
question.
we got a solution. We
They
cover
outlawed
it.
it.
and we
I
can
think
sell.
they're the only team that can do it, or they were the last or somebody.
badass.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Sidetrack.
we got first base. Second base, for me and BBD, I used a little bit of your reasoning. I put Iowa there. Again, kind of the smaller wrestler kind of popped out. A gritty second baseman in Iowa.
I like it. I think I went similar. I went Nebraska. I feel very similar to Nebraska as I do to Iowa, except I've spent a lot more time in Iowa, and I know them a little bit better. They've
Are
got
they neighboring? Do they touch?
Iowa and Nebraska. I believe
I
so.
think a little bit in that northeast.
Yeah, they're
corner.
So I have a terrible experience with Nebraska. Good, got it.
Yeah.
I got a speeding ticket going 51 and a 50 in Nebraska.
Stop.
And I had to pay it because I was driving through, and they're like, well, if you don't like it, show up for court. And I couldn't.
I'm not coming back.
Yeah, so I had to pay that fine. As a minor leaguer, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
But I chose them for that reason, and second base is the most. It's like you don't have to be the best athlete to play second base. You don't have to have the best arm, the most range. I like second base. It's a very key point. But it's just, where do I stick this guy? He doesn't have a position.
Kind of
Let's
like,
try him at second
be
base.
Good.
You end up.
Yeah,
at second
you better
base,
hit
kinda.
because you're there, or be gritty.
Hasn't that changed a lot? I
Oh,
feel
a
like
lot.
that's a modern baseball.
Mhm.
Like second baseman and shortstop never hit. Like people, like
If
you
you
go
were
back in the
getting
history
anything out of
books and you're
those-
like, you look at some of those middle play combos you hear about and you're like, what?
So that's why guys like
They didn't hit
Ryan
at all.
Sandberg and Ron Santo, those guys that could rake at second
Yeah.
base, were like Hall of Famers instantly because they're like the best of the group.
Yeah.
We just did all-time Yankee draft a couple weeks ago, and like it's by how much Robinson Cano is kind of the best player at that position.
He didn't
There's-
exist.
Like there's just no.
Robinson
There's
Cano
guys who
didn't
compiled,
exist in old
but
baseball.
yeah,
Like a big left-handed
power
35
stroke.
homer a year.
That doesn't. I
second
mean,
base.
Ian
It still
Kinsler.
kind of
Ian
doesn't.
Kinsler is a borderline Hall of Famer with
Yeah.
his career. If you really look at his numbers, like he's
compare second baseman to second baseman.
Pedroia was like a shoe-in until his knee injury. He still is
Body
borderline.
Yeah,
I mean,
there'll
He
be
just got to have
conversations.
they
6
just
more
didn't
years,
exist. Those were different style of players, and so
Times. Who do you have, BBD?
My second baseman. This is where I ended up putting Indiana. Indiana's a guy that could have
Okay.
flexed to a few spots. He's my fastest player. I was thinking of
Ooh.
the 500.
Okay.
There's a lot of guys that I just couldn't figure out. So when I split one, puzzle pieces moved. Indiana ended up at second. So a little speed there doesn't hurt. But
I like it.
I didn't have a passionate spot for Indiana.
yeah, I identified if any of these are going to be fast states, Indiana is one of them.
I have strong feelings for Indiana being border to Ohio. Been to a bunch of tournaments, Indianapolis, Fort Wayne,
Sure.
like all those are, close
How's
connected to me.
Indianapolis as a city?
Awesome city,
Yeah?
underrated, small. They have like a little circle, but
Sure.
an incredible city, super cool.
How do you feel about Pittsburgh as a city?
I love Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I'm a big fan.
Hidden
It's
gem.
not what
Hidden gem.
I agree. I love Pittsburgh.
I went to Pittsburgh, and I guess I was expecting it to be dumpy, and I was like, this place is beautiful.
Awesome. It's up and coming
Middle
too
of
because
baseball season. Like,
beautiful.
It was, okay.
that stadium's awesome
Gotta
too.
get to Indy. It was
Indy's super cool. It's small. I mean, if you go for the football, it's perfect.
right.
A little cold
Yeah.
that time of year, but Indy's like
September.
I mean, it's tiny comparatively to big cities,
Okay.
but I like it.
Okay, I can do that. All right, shortstop.
Mm.
This is interesting. I feel like we're gonna have a match here. I don't know, maybe the trifecta. Shortstop. Everyone has an image of shortstop. I went Illinois.
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 The Illinois sweep.
I mean, Chicago's the crown jewel of the
It
Midwest.
really is,
It's
man.
beautiful.
Like
It really
obviously, there's
is.
more to the state than Chicago, but
There
that
is.
is the Midwest
Yep.
city.
Yeah, it's
So-
it's the like there's everybody from my area when they go to work in the big city, they go to Chicago.
Yeah.
Like New York is still the biggest and
Yeah.
the best, but if you stay, a lot of people stay in the Midwest, Chicago, and summertime Chicago,
Yeah.
hard to beat.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's have you done Chicago BBD?
I did
put you on the
obviously
spot.
with you this summer. We did a couple days,
Right.
And then I went. My family and I did kind of a similar trip to what we did this
Right.
summer, and we did it. But that was like our longest part. We did like 4 days in Chicago.
It's
It was really nice.
yeah, it's
Just a summer trip.
it's like the going away
the
staying.
baseball.
Like if I did TikTok videos that were like 10 things white people say, it's like Chicago would be America's favorite city if it didn't get cold. Like it's very true.
It's and I even
think
like
it's
it when
very
it's
true.
cold, to be honest. Yeah, you gotta love it. It's cold off the
How's-
lake.
how's
Oh
that
my
one?
god, you can't be
It gets
outside.
cold.
Oh, it's so cold.
It
I mean,
gets-
New York's cold too, man.
Yes, but also like not as cold.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
I know
true.
it
That
is,
lake
but it's
effect
also, like,
is next
not.
level, man.
And, like,
it's true.
And it doesn't. I don't have the words for it. Yes, New York's by water and everything, obviously, so you get similar effects there. But just I don't know, it doesn't.
It's the truth.
same.
It's the truth. You're right. It's next level. But summertime, I love it.
Yeah.
I wish I would have been able to play. Like I got drafted by the Cubs. I wish I would have been able to be a big leaguer in Chicago just to experience it. Like New York was incredible, man.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things I was able to do is wear a Mets uniform for so long because I love New York. Like I got to feel a part of
you
it
get
for
to,
a
like,
long time.
embody it a little
Yeah, and so I would have loved to have done that in Chicago. Like that would have been so cool.
Happer, I'm obviously in Hap. He's with us. He's compound. I'm really excited to see for him, man, because some of his stats, you're like, dude, you're awesome. Like 800 career OPS and stuff like
Very
that.
good.
Like, dude.
Switch hitter. Like
And now that they traded away the old guard, Rizzo and him, like he's kind of like their guy
He's
in the
their
middle
guy.
of the lineup. And, I think he's got 2 more years of ARB, so I'm really interested in, obviously he is, but like.
he's gonna have to wear the veteran status now because he's gonna be one of the older guys that's been there for a while. He'll I'm sure he's already started, but he'll get like texts and phone calls from younger guys. He's like, why are you asking me this? Like it happened to me in Oakland. You're like, what? Oh, and then you realize like that's a hat I have to wear now.
This.
Yeah. Crazy.
So yeah, I
Good
think
for him. Yeah, it's super cool.
Big year. Cubs have a sneaky season. Like Ian Happ's like a dude. He already is.
Yeah, he's a dude.
So am I. Third base. And again, this is, I think, corners sometimes up the middle, even center field. I had Missouri here. In my head, I had Missouri as kind of mighty. I had a little bit of regret when you said Missouri. Well, A, your St. Louis line was cool. B, I started thinking of like Ryan Howard. I think like Luke Voigt's a Missouri guy. Like
Ryan Howard was my image, by the way. Thank you for bringing that up. Like Southwest Missouri State guy. Yeah.
That's cool. I think
I think it's Missouri State
Missouri
now.
State is this
Used to be Southwest Missouri State.
Really?
Brad
They're, like,
Ziegler.
One of the weirdest, I shouldn't say, one of the baseball powerhouse that you're just like, what?
Yep.
But yeah, I had Missouri at third.
I like it. BBD?
Third base. This is where I ended up. Sorry, I'm trying to find the board so I can fill things in. This is where I put Kansas.
Okay.
Kansas, I have the phrase I kept stumbling into just every time I tried to think about it. I thought about a few positions for Kansas, but
Sure.
Kansas is a ball player.
Oh, okay.
He's there.
Okay.
Wherever
Kansas
you put
shows
him,
up.
Kansas is going to go give you a consistent performance day in, day out. You know what you're getting. I don't think he's going to be anyone's favorite, but Kansas is going to give you his thing, and he's a
Joe
ball
Randa.
player.
I like it.
Joe Randa. What about yourself?
For third base, I have Wisconsin. They are the other, northern outside of
corners.
Minnesota. I literally put third base catcher. I almost went to. I almost put. I almost put Minnesota as my third baseman because of a guy named Jack Hanahan, who's a University of Minnesota guy. I played with him a long time. Red. I played with him in Oakland, like a left-handed hitter. Had a solid career, but he's a big, Canadian style talking and like third base, like just a manly hockey style. Put your body on the line for fun. Just
pleasure out of that.
Yeah, like just enjoys punishment, and you have to be like that to man the hot corner, man. They're not quite catcher like, but they're still a different breed. Yeah.
Down on that
I
ladder.
thought you said Joel Hanrahan at first.
Oh.
I don't know if you remember him.
I
but
do.
Nasty
Pitcher.
reliever.
Yeah. Jack Hanahan.
Jack Hanahan.
So here's a quick Jack Hanahan story. So my second day in the big leagues. Vicente Padilla, Texas Rangers, pitching, Texas Rangers, Oakland A's. Nick Swisher's up, leading off the bottom of the first inning. Throws at him, misses, 97. Throws at him again. I think the third pitch he hits him. He charges. I just got traded over to the A's, so I had nobody on this team. So I'm sprinting over, and I'm like on the field in Oakland. You're in the bullpen. You're on the field. And so I could see everybody running in, and I see Jack Hanahan, who we actually split a locker in the big leagues when I first got called up because the Coliseum is terrible. But we literally shared a locker down the middle. We had to take turns getting dressed. But I see him, and Nick Swisher, who was hitting, was the guy right beside us. Awesome human. I see Jack Hanahan sprinting out, and Superman jumps like over the pile to try to get Padilla, and like I was like, that guy is a badass. I love that human being. I still to this day love Jack Hanahan, but that embodies that Minnesota, Wisconsin style. But that was my first day, like my first game in the big leagues.
First game in the bigs.
Benches clearing Brawls, like a real deal, punches thrown.
That's wild,
fun,
dude.
Fun
That's like something you joke about on like the broadcast after a brawl. Like you kind of start checking boxes, and you're like, okay, who's the veteran that was around but obviously didn't get in the mix?
You just found a match to.
And then it's like, who's the newest guy that was like traded, or a young guy that called up that like doesn't have any skin in the game.
I knew more guys on the Rangers having played against them coming up, and I grabbed my buddy. And I was like, dude, this is big leagues is amazing. I was like, don't punch me in the face.
Please don't swing. Do not swing at me.
Yeah. This is awesome.
Super Manahan is his
Super
nickname.
Manahan? I did not know that.
Nickname on Baseball Reference.
It's lovely. How awesome in Oakland A's is it that we split a locker as our first.
That's wild. Like, I didn't know
first
that was
time in the
an
big
option.
leagues, they're like, here, you're going to get this half. You can have a shoe. The other
By
shoe,
the way, if you're
worth it.
a lot of talk about catchers today. If you're one of those nuts, Jack Hanahan, 8-year MLB career.
He's a guy.
Stick around.
Good teammate.
University of Minnesota. St. Paul boy.
Tacking on, I almost, a part of me wanted to go Minnesota third base for another guy we know. I couldn't get Plouffe out of my head, but I didn't do it.
Lives in your head.
He's a California boy now.
Yeah, a Californian.
He's back to Cali.
Outfield, we normally jump to center.
Center and then do the corners
I'm cool with that.
together.
We value it differently, and I think we should. Center field's tough. This is where I went with the great state of Ohio.
Oh, I'm proud of you for that.
I don't know. I don't know if it's Ohio State because pick center field. Sometimes it comes to covering ground or speed, but I think it was a pride thing, and I had like the pride of Ohio, like a proud center fielder. Like that's my ball. I'm calling it Ohio.
I like it. Respect. Thank you. Ohio's always, just so you know, being from Ohio, I was actually born in Tennessee, but in Ohio, raised since I was 4, we're always the like movie trope if you're from the Midwest.
Yeah.
It's like, hi, I'm Mike from Ohio. Like the average white guy
real, yeah.
that's Ohio. It's so funny.
Well, I have Mike catching
so
balls.
I appreciate that you put him in center.
Snagging balls inside.
I love it.
What about yourself?
For center field, so I went Iowa. When I think of Iowa, I think of wide open cornfields, lots of space. You got to man the outfield. You've got plenty of coverage. You're going to need some speed out there. A lot of athleticism and the wrestling people out in Iowa. Yeah. Just good football players. Like that's an important position. Speed guy, got to cover space. That's why I chose Iowa.
I like it. Beebs?
Center field. This is where I ended up putting Missouri.
Okay.
I took a long thoughts on it, and it has the two major cities, St. Louis and Kansas City. Is the bulk of that's in the real part's in Missouri. So some good range there. It touches so many other states. I believe it's the state that borders the most states.
That's cool.
It's rangy.
I like
can
that
help
angle.
everybody
I do
out.
too.
I like that angle.
And the player mold I'm thinking of is Aaron Hicks. Not the speediest center fielder, but rangy and will go make the plays you need. Important part of the team when he's right. I'm thinking about good Aaron Hicks.
Hicks, Missouri.
We haven't gotten to see that in a couple of years.
I like the touching every state.
Yeah, the touching every state.
Like it.
That makes
two
sense.
big cities on either end there, basically.
It's good logic. Let's pair the corners up. We do have a Jomboy Media tournament.
Also, my girlfriend's from Missouri.
Coming up after this. Really?
Mm-hmm.
The ladies from Mizzou.
Yeah, St. Louis.
Look at you guys.
So she also said put Missouri in a premium spot or
Young
else.
love is beautiful.
Young love. God.
It's forceful. You do what you got to do.
Yeah,
we might end the show with some young love talk. 'Cause I've got stories and thoughts.
I'm for it.
Let's pair the corners together. I'll be honest, I got a little lost on this. I think I ended up pairing them because of letters. I put Kansas in right and Kentucky in left. I have Kansas people as a little more powerful than Kentucky people, and So I have Kansas and right. BBD. I don't want to get that. Do not want to get that confused.
You said
because I'm so passionate about it. Yeah, I don't know. These were my two I kind of got lost on, and go play outfield, kid. That's what it is.
I also got a little lost here. So I went with Indiana in left field and Michigan in right field. So I feel like Michigan is the tough kind of, they've got Detroit, but Ann Arbor is beautiful, and Michigan's a great state, smart. So I figured right field, you got the super athleticism, got a cannon there. So that's I went with Michigan. Plus,
Michigan has a strong arm.
Strong arm, a strong outfield. They're shaped like a glove, like the state's shaped like a glove.
Shaped like a glove, and it has an arm.
There it is, that arm overhand, coming, throwing the ball home. I didn't know what to do with Indiana. So when I see Indiana, I think of French Lick, I think of Larry Bird, I think of the Basketball Hall of Fame. And I didn't know where to put him because it's basketball. So I was like, I'm just going to stick this kid in left field and see where it goes. And if he's, we'll make an adjustment if need be.
The athlete starts playing baseball.
Yeah. Let's stick the outfield out. Yeah. He'll figure it out.
Okay. Babes?
Left and right, this is where I had my two that work together a little bit. I put Minnesota and Wisconsin in left, right.
Ooh, you got a power outfield.
They're powerful.
You got a power outfield.
Yes. I went outfield heavy.
You got a modern outfield.
Yeah.
You got Castellanos.
Missouri will go make the plays, but you kind of like a little better defense there with those two in the
Winker.
corners. But yeah,
They're gonna rake. Anything they do in the outfield is just a bonus.
Yeah. If they go make a play for you.
Strong boys.
Tip your cap. Thanks, buddy.
They got good arms.
Yeah. Minnesota
like a Hunter Renfroe.
Yes. We looked him up. Is he a Midwest guy?
I don't know.
I feel like we were lost on him, and then it all made sense when we looked it up.
I want to look it up and not get it wrong.
Because you want to
He's
say
from
the South.
Mississippi.
Yeah.
Crystal Springs.
Hunter Renfroe. Okay. And then DH, I had Nebraska.
That's where I ended up with Nebraska.
Okay.
Hardest to place for me.
I have that
couldn't
as like
figure
my
it out.
burliest.
That's your. Okay, I could see that.
I had him as Burley.
At DH, I have Kansas because they are all basketball and they can't play the field. So they're like the guy that just can rake, but you know.
Let him go run into one.
Yeah, the David Ortiz that's like, man, you're really good at this thing, which is shooting hoops or whatever. Just do that. Don't worry about anything else.
Only shoot hoops.
Only shoot hoops. Yep. Stay on
like
that. Yeah, stay on that 3-point arc.
Yeah, it was. So I think a tricky part of this exercise was a lot of the times I was thinking of like little leaguers. Like for some reason, just seeing the states in baseball, I think.
You associate it? I love it. Yeah, absolutely.
I was just picturing a Nebraska team of like 12-year-olds who are pretty well built in a good and bad way coming up in a row. Like,
man.
Like they would be the DH on every other team, but that's Nebraska.
I dig it. The offensive lineman style.
Okay. All right. So that means the pitchers. I had Michigan, kind of for the throwing reasons I just said. I had Michigan.
I like it.
I had Michigan and Minnesota pairing up as the battery. Like I think those were two proud big Midwest towns like pairing up.
It's hard to argue against that. I like the throwing. I mean, the throwing thing is perfect.
Yeah.
Like I used it for the outfield, but starting pitcher.
I
guess it's
see
my
the
Ohio
argument
thing
for Michigan there.
Who do you have on the bump?
I've got Ohio, man.
I also
Okay.
have
I've got
Okay,
Ohio.
okay.
That's me.
That's fair.
Ohio's known for a few things. Former presidents, got a lot of those. And astronauts, lots of astronauts.
that.
Home of Neil Armstrong. Pretty cool. And like football, like strong, Midwestern football players. And to me, like from the presidents and the astronauts, that's a thinking man's game. That's a starting pitcher. He's got to play a little bit. Not on top of that, they're pretty dang good athletes that kind of get overlooked. Like linemen are athletes and get overlooked because of technique and stuff.
Right.
Like Plouffe talked about, and starting pitchers are kind of their own group. They're like on their own island. Like all the team hangs out together. Ohio is like Eastern time zone. You know, if you look on a map, Ohio is, you take I-75 in Miami, you drive straight north, right through Ohio on the west side. Like, we're weird.
Yeah.
We're east. But, so, they're their own breed, the starting pitcher. I don't want to get too deep on Ohio.
No, that was heavy.
And similar when we did Thanksgiving foods, turkey. It's turkey day. It's turkey day. They're that's a little bit what you get with the Ohio State people, and they're all OHIO, and it's all, if they're from Ohio, they're very proud about it.
That's why I put them inside. So
that's
like
a little bit of what happens.
Yeah.
They're got some good durability there.
Strong positions.
It's the strong Ohio. It's a strong, for its size. Ohio's a strong state.
I think the fifth largest state by population. You know, we got a lot of big cities.
Really?
Cincinnati,
Columbus,
Dayton, Cleveland, Columbus, Toledo,
Akron.
Yeah, man, there's a lot of.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think the fifth largest. When I was a kid, it was in elementary school, learning like the
it's at least
number
up
of, votes we get.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And the other part was like, you saw someone name a Midwest state, one of the first three they're gonna name is Ohio. So it's just like, in the context of this, Ohio just is so associated with it.
It's also shaped like a heart of the team.
Yeah.
Starting pitcher. I would disagree with that, but
I'd fight that. Okay, and then at closer I put Indiana just because I don't know. I was lost. I didn't have a spot for them. It just happened.
I felt the same way. I went for my closer. I went with Kentucky because they don't belong in the Midwest.
They hang out by themselves.
They also very, very basketball centric.
They are basketball
specific to maybe you have just a devastating slider,
cutter,
or a manual Class A style cutter. Just let it eat, man. Mariano Rivera.
I also had Kentucky as my closer. I felt a bit more strongly about it. They're like, I think the weird that you get in Kentucky is just different from the weird you get in those other Midwest states.
Different Midwest.
Probably because it's
the South,
the least Midwest of the Midwest states
South
we have
Midwest.
here. And I looked it up and I was like, Josh Hader's such a Kentucky guy from Maryland, Eastern Maryland. What? But I'm picturing Josh Hader out there, kind of just a weirdo freak every day.
Yeah, kind of like we're saying Kentucky's a little misplaced here, and that's a little. Like, they're on the team because they do their one thing well. Like, it's an AAU team, and it's like, hey, this kid throws. We're 14. This kid throws 98. Put him in for the final inning, and let's go home.
Even if
he doesn't like
even if he doesn't throw enough strikes, they're not gonna be able to touch it before he walks four people.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's beautiful. I did. I don't want to say we're running short on time, but I think we'll do lineups quick. BBD, I don't want to put you in a weird spot if you're recording the lineups.
We'll get them in there.
Okay. I'll just go down the board. I'll do my lineup. I had Ohio lead off, followed by Illinois. Nebraska 3, Wisconsin 4, Missouri 5, Kansas 6, Minnesota 7, Kentucky 8, Indiana 9. So that was just down the board.
I didn't do the lineup, so I'm doing it right now.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
I can go.
You do it.
Kansas, I have leading off. He's kind of boring, but he's going to get on. Like I said, he's a ball player.
Okay.
Missouri, I've gotten center field. That I couldn't figure out placements with him in the lineup, and I have guys that are lefties. I didn't like stacking. Missouri's switch hitting. He's Aaron Hicks. Wisconsin and right batting third. Minnesota and left batting fourth. They're a duo.
Sure.
Michigan still able to hit, batting 5 hole. Illinois 6 batting at shortstop. You want it to be better than it really is there.
Ooh.
Obviously, you believe Chicago, all the things I said. It has the glove on the defensive end ready to go. You want it to hit a little more.
Wow.
There's just a lot outside Chicago that I don't think we'd like. And then Nebraska 7 DH. No idea what to do with Nebraska at any point in any of this. Iowa 8 catching. Indiana 9 second leadoff guy, second base.
I did this. Well prepared, well prepped. You got to put your center fielder. I've got Iowa leading off. I didn't know what to do with the second spot. I went Nebraska, thinking that's my second baseman, but so I put him there. I've got first base being my best hitter in Missouri, just doing everything at first base. DH, Kansas, hitting cleanup. He's really good at that thing, and he's going to drive in runs. I've got Michigan in right field, batting fifth. Got Indiana hitting sixth in left field. Got Minnesota, the catcher, being a strong hitter, and catcher batting seventh. Gives him time to take off his equipment if need be.
Right.
And then I've got, what does that leave me? Wisconsin batting eighth. Or is that right? And then, shoot.
Feels like you just
What do I got
came
left?
up with this line.
Illinois.
7. Oh, Illinois got to be 9.
Wow.
Oh, sorry, Illinois.
You guys have a light-hitting
versatile.
Illinois.
Yeah, I just missed
That's
it.
fine.
Light
You
hitting
want it to hit more
shortstop.
often than it does.
The second leadoff.
Throwback.
That's tough.
Yeah. Speedster. I mean, that was the Midwest baseball lineup and draft.